Good morning again, everyone, and now I'd like to talk to you briefly about the experience of going on a jeepney in the Philippines. A very unique experience. There's not too many other countries that have jeepneys. There are some countries like Pakistan which have very colourful buses, but the jeepney, for all intents and purposes, is a Philippines-made phenomenon, and we certainly don't have jeepneys in Australia. A couple of Filipinos have asked me if we have jeepneys here, but I tell them no, only taxis and buses. But riding a jeepney is an experience. Maybe your first time you go on one. The names of the places are painted or written on the outside of the jeepney, so you can see where they go and which places they go, which route they take. Sometimes they won't go until they're full up if they're going on a sort of longer distance jeepney ride, so often they'll just be picking up and letting off people as they're going along, and there are no jeepney stops really. Maybe at the main market there'll be a jeepney terminal, but if you bang on the roof or if you call out Paraho, then the jeepney will probably stop at the next sort of place where it can stop. But I'm not even 6 foot, but I find when I get into a jeepney my knees are really close together and taking up a lot of the space, and I get a bit of a sore neck when I'm in there, and it's a bit of a struggle getting in and getting out. In the provinces you might occasionally see people riding on top of the jeepney, and a little bit more commonly you might see them just hanging on at the back. I've done that a couple of times. They're hanging on at the back bit. I haven't ridden on top. But there's often music playing, and there's religious quotes in the jeepney, like in God We Trust, and very religious people, Filipinos. If you're lucky, you might get to go in the front seat, although often that's taken. If you get there early enough, very occasionally someone might offer you a front seat as a foreigner, and it actually works on an honesty system. There is a set fare. Well, whatever that may be, it might be 10 pesos, it might be 11 pesos, it just depends really. And people will pay their money via other people. It'll be a chain of hands all the way up to the driver, and then if they pay with a 20 peso note, the change will go all the way back to the right person, and everybody knows the system, and it's very much an honesty system. It's best to have the right change. Sometimes you might be a good 5 minutes before you get your change. You will get it though before you get off. Small notes are okay. I wouldn't have anything over about 100 pesos, and that might take a bit of changing or waiting for other people to pay before you get your change. But for the actual jeepney driver, I've had a chat to a couple of jeepney drivers a while back, and one of them said there was a bounty of 750 pesos. So in any given day he's driving, he gives the jeepney owner or the company owner 750 pesos cash, and he keeps all the rest. So if he takes 1500 pesos for the day, he'll keep 750 for himself. If he keeps 2,000 pesos, he'll be able to keep 1,250 pesos. Some of the money might go to a barker. There'll be a guy at the back of the jeepney who'll be calling out, getting people's attention and telling them calling out the name of the place where the jeepney's going. So he'll get his cut. And again, a jeepney, a full jeepney, if it runs out of fuel, it'll just go in and buy more fuel with all the passengers in it. I'm not quite sure who pays for that, whether it comes out of the driver's extra money. I imagine it probably would. Yeah, it's a pretty long day for him behind the wheel. I don't know whether he get much of a break. He might do if there's a bit of a slow day, but then ideally he'd be wanting to be busy. But a long day behind the wheel for a jeepney driver, but definitely worth the experience. Manila, I was a little bit less confident taking jeepneys because I had further to go, and they weren't necessarily going to go the whole way. So I was more inclined to take taxis, but other places in Philippines, yeah, definitely get on board a jeepney, have a ride, and that's all part of the experience. Thank you.